Hello, everyone. I'm happy to bring to you this actuarial review exclusive. Today, we're going to talk to Michaël Bordeleau-Tassile. Michaël is actually he's the winner of the 2023 Hacktuary Challenge, and that is something that the CAS started a couple of years ago to encourage actuaries, especially tech-savvy actuaries who enjoy programming, to come up with a app that would actually be consumer facing, something that helps the consumer as the primary objective. So with that, I am going to introduce you to Michaël, who is, by the way, he's a homeowners and auto pricing actuary in Montreal. Montreal is also the use test case for his app, which he's going to explain to you. The app displays property risk factors ranging from environmental and climate characteristics to proximity to fire stations and other really important information that consumers need if they're going to be looking to buy their own home. So with that, I just want to introduce you to the developer of this way cool app. So, hello, Michaël.
Hello, thanks for having me. So my application, PropertInsight, was developed using R and Shiny language. Yes, it's customer facing. It's being hosted on the internet. And what I believe a customer will find very useful to begin with is the search feature where you can just click and find any property in a matter of seconds. And automatically you get to view all the building attributes such as the number of floors, square footage, valuation. And on top of the map, you can actually have multiple layers being shown. Perhaps the first question that you wonder when you're looking to buy a home, where can you afford to live? So all the valuation have been color-coded and can be displayed on the map itself, so you can have a better idea where you can afford to live. Besides that, if you're worried about flood zones, you can highlight the various flood zones near the island. And are you worried about living in a heat hotspot where urban materials such as concrete and will condense heat, which makes it sometimes unbearable throughout the summer. And on the inverse, you can have cooler zones due to vegetation that dissipates that heat.
Wow, I just don't think most homeowners even think about things like that. But that's just amazing and important for sure. Also, you had other things. So you talked about the noise, right? Uh, no, or have we? Could you show us the
Oh,
noise, the
yes,
roads with the noise, please?
yes, you can highlight the various main roads that are in the vicinity of the property. So you can have a general idea of how much noise there will be when you will be on your balcony.
And that's the
Um,
red road, right? The red roads are the noisy
yes,
ones, and
exactly.
but the gray ones are the least noisy, I think.
Well, they're least noisy, but there are some even less noisy are not highlighted. So only the
Wow.
main ones are highlighted.
Okay. Okay. Also, you have proximity to fire stations.
Yes,
Um,
fire
Go ahead.
stations I have, and I have also the proximity to bars. So bars can lead to a higher crime risk, as demonstrated deeper in the app. So knowing if there are multiple bars around the property can influence the purchasing decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Very interesting. So I also want to ask you, so we've covered what the app can do for consumers, but since you're an actuary, you also have features with the actuaries in mind. So tell me a little bit about what kind of insight actuaries can get from your app.
Mhm. Sure. So all the data sets have their own menu here where you can get more information on those data. So you have environmental, social, demographic. And for example, here the wetness indicator. So it's the topographic wetness index, which gives an indication of the tendency for water to accumulate at a specific spot. It's a function of our surrounding slopes and drainage area. So having more water accumulate near your house can create soil erosion, instability, and create more damage to your foundation. And I've provided a visual example here where the blue shades are in natural places where water will accumulate. If you notice here, the blue spot here, it's normal as it's a pond within the park. So naturally, water will accumulate there. But if you
That would be
notice,
wet.
exactly.
Pond would be wet.
And
Yeah.
if you notice on the right-hand side, there is quite dark blue shades here, but those are actually streets and houses built there. But if you were to look at centuries-old maps, you would find creeks running down that path. So still, topography has an influence, and it can be a good information to assess the seepage and sewer backup risk.
Wow. Is that if there was if there was water 300 or 400 years ago, could it still affect the property now?
Well, not the old water, but due to the topography. So when there are heavy rains, water will just follow the same path that was used back then. So water will accumulate in those regions.
Nature remembers.
Exactly.
Yeah, nature remembers.
So insurers will also find interesting the models I've developed and explained, and one of which is the fire hazard. So insurers have been struggling to accurately assess fire risk due to its low frequency, high severity type of peril. So in the fire models, I am explaining a clever way to integrate fire events into a modeling process that can help improve your insurance model.
Wow. Well, we could really use something like that in California, where we're having such a problem with wildfires. Um, but anyway, that's just amazing. All the data and the programming and just everything it took. What inspired your app? How did you come up with the idea?
Yeah, so the housing crisis that is happening in North America over the past few years is quite severe, and I've seen families desperate for a house, jumping on the first opportunity, and sometimes engaging in overbidding wars and not having time to do proper due diligence. So this tool I find will help to make due diligence easier.
Yeah, so because I think oftentimes, you can barely come up with the down payment, and then the maintenance cost could be much higher down the road if you're not aware of exactly what could affect the house. So
Mhm.
again, as an education piece, I think it's fantastic. So being an actuary, you see things from an actuarial perspective. So how did you get into the consumer headspace um, and stay there, especially keeping in mind that consumers do not tend to know about property, do not tend to know what actuaries know about property. How did you do that?
Well, as a customer myself, I've asked myself, what do I want to know about a property before making the purchase of a lifetime? So I really went out to look for relevant data that could help orient your purchasing decision. And the app was actually built on top of 28 different data sets. So hunting down that data and grasping its intricacies and figuring out a way to leverage the value from that data was quite the challenge. And then, I mean, the daunting task of combining, merging all these sources together, so real estate, social, environmental, into a cohesive, user-friendly interface was quite the challenge, yes.
Yeah, it sounds like it really would be. So, and you had also mentioned that artificial intelligence also played a role in developing your app.
Yes, well, given the buzz about AI these days, I must give credit where it's due. I did use AI for two purposes. The first one being, well, as a French Canadian, AI was useful in refining some sentences to make it sound more natural in English. So it did. I see it as sophisticated translator.
Okay, good.
And yeah, and the other use case was I did use generative AI to craft the three images that are showing up on the landing page. Because let's say the first image, I was searching for an aerial view of a suburban region with houses and shrubberies that twist into a maze. Well, trying to find that it's an impossible. It's like finding a unicorn in a haystack. So using generative AI to craft that image based on my wishes and my prompt, that was the way to go for sure.
So when you were using so I'm sorry, I forgot did you use ChatGPT?
Well, for the images itself, I use Bing Image Creator. For the
Okay.
refining sentences, yes, ChatGPT was used. Yeah.
Okay. So when you did it, I mean, did the AI actually generate the picture based on what you asked it to do?
Yes, it generates 4 different variations, and you can choose which one you like, or you can decide to refine it. So, okay, I want more green. I want houses more dispersed, and so on. So you can really, really craft it the way you like.
So did you basically start off with, I would like an aerial view of Montreal with showing streets and roads and vegetation,
Yeah.
or
Well,
okay,
not Montreal, just a generic suburban area. But yes, that's the way.
that's amazing. You're also a self-described data junkie. Would you like to share with us what
Yes,
that means?
sure. Well, I mean, 28 data sets. You have to be a data junkie. So um, it's my little secret because that's what I love to do. I don't play video games at home. I love to play with data. So there's always this rush of excitement when I get to dive into new data and uncover patterns and relationship. That's fascinating.
I Yeah, I don't know an actuary who isn't interested in finding those patterns. But yes, it is very fascinating, especially if you can get an insight that nobody's thought of, right?
Mhm.
So that's really cool. Also, could you also talk about who did you I was gonna say inflict, that's not nice. Who was your guinea pig in helping you, make
Yeah.
sure that it was user friendly and intuitive?
Yeah, sure. So, well, I did ask my sister, which is not an actuary. She's in marketing. So I gave it to her and watched her carefully as she navigated to see if it was intuitive enough to her. Because interactivity and user experience is one key criteria of the Hacktuary challenge.
True, true. Yeah, I think it's very intuitive. I mean, the tabs are there, what you want is right there. Frankly, I'd like to see other programs that easy to use in general. So no, I think that's really cool. Um, is there anything else you'd like to share with the viewers about how to be inspired for the Hacktuary challenge, or how to look for applications out there?
Well, I'd say build your curiosity. Always be curious. Don't be afraid to ask questions and search for answers when you have questions. And I mean, internet is a big place full of information. Don't hesitate, and I hope to see more challengers in the upcoming Hacktuary challenges.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're looking forward to it too. We're going to continue the program. It's generated a lot of excitement, and for good reason. So again, I want to thank you, Michaël Bordeleau-Tassile. I'm so glad I got that pronounced right. And I appreciate your time. And thank you very much.
Thank you.